We always like to take the time to acknowledge the artistic presence that's so important to youth empowerment and equity. And now we're going to head over to the youth panel that will be led by Mickey Grace. Mickey. So maybe we're having our first tech issue of the day. Surely no one thought we would make it through the entire day without one. Mickey, can you hear me? Mickey can hear me.
Hey, I can hear you.
Here she is. All right, I'm turning it over to you, sis.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Mickey Grace, and I am super excited to be hosting this conversation with some of the dopest, the most, just amazing young people that I've come across, some great leaders from the community. We're going to be having our youth empowerment panel. So clap it up for that real quick. Okay, so before we jump in, I just want to take a quick moment to thank the committee for bringing this together, for all the hard work that they've done. And we're going to get into this conversation. D, are you ready? You ready, D? D saying she's ready. Okay, cool. So my name is Mickey Grace. Like I mentioned, I'm here today moderating the conversation, and I'm going to get us started out by having each of our guests introduce themselves by their name, what organization they're representing today, or what organization they feel most connected to, and then where do they identify on our social change ecosystem. And we'll get started with D. Go ahead, jump right in, sis.
Hi, everyone. I am super excited to be here today. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm Diara Williams. You can call me D. I work at Austin Coming Together as a marketing and development associate. So I definitely am aligned with their things that they're doing in the Austin community. And I love working there and actually being in the community and working on the ground, which is amazing. For the social change ecosystem, I listed 4. I'm all over the place. So I say that I am kind of into experimenting and being a visionary. And I think those go together kind of, because if you vision something, then I like to take action. So I say that, okay, well, I have a vision here. Let me see how I can make this work in my community. I say that I'm a caregiver as well. I believe in loving one another is one of the most important things to do. You can't do too much without love and caring and nurturing for others. And I will say I am a kind of a guide too, teaching as much as I can, whatever wisdom I have so far in life. I like to give that to whoever I can. So that's me. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Dee. I'm super excited about hearing a little more. Giovanni, please just let us know, share your name, what organization you're connected to, and if you have an identifier, you can share that as well.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Giovanni. I'm from Westside Health Authority. We are the people who are making the podcasting system for young youth. We would like to try to empower youth to speak out their voices in whichever way they can. If they can do that through podcasting, that's a greater way to do that. Although we would want to do them for them to speak out, even though they're not podcasting. So that's just one way we're doing it. The way I would try and fit myself into the ecosystem, I would want to be a visionary as well. I kind of want to see into the future. What can I do to make things even better? That kind of feeling, that kind of rush. You just want to give that impact to some people. And I would say I would be a guide as well. I love to teach people about new things, and including my family and friends, just spreading the love here and there,
Thanks, Giovanni. Thanks for the work you're doing. I love podcasting. Me and Rashida actually have a podcast, so we love doing that work. So thank you so much. Keyshawn, let us know.
Hi, everybody. My name is Keishwan. The organization I came to represent, I actually came to represent two. It's Your Passion First, and it's Build Chicago. Essentially, what I do with both of those organizations, respectively, is Your Passion First. I'm a mentee in a new program who's actually getting ready for the workforce through arts, culinary, sports, and etc. So I've been really been trying to push my passion first, and I've been trying to figure out how to get other people on board, which is why I entered Build Chicago as a tutor slash mentor for the middle school youth. And my role in the ecosystem, I thought long and hard about it, but I realized I couldn't choose. I consider myself a Renaissance man, so I've at some point in time had to play a lot of different roles, but the role that I really sincerely resonate with as of right now is the storyteller. I feel like there's not a lot of people to get a platform out there to get their stories and their voices heard. And I know I'm really good with words, and I know I'm really good with networking, so I would always be on the front lines trying to get people's word out, because stories is what really make a difference. It's not really the money, it's really the community values.
Thank you, Keishwan. I'm not surprised you was like, let me put my own little spin to this. Keishwan and I have actually interviewed before, so I'm looking forward to having him again. Keishwan is a fashion designer. He did mention that, but I'm pretty sure he'll get into that a little later. All right, next up. Come on.
Hi, my name is Felissa Dawson. I am from Build. I work with the program YEEP as well. That's mentoring, and I also work with Illinois WorkNet and being a daycare provider for the children in my neighborhood. So leading back into like the social chain economics, I will put myself as caregiver, healer, storyteller, and a visionary, because all that will likely fall into my spirituality. So all this is how I move. So I consider myself a visionary because I usually visualize what I'm doing, what I'm going to do, and then I actually put forth the effort to do what I want to do. And I also am a caregiver because I have a younger brother who is autistic, so I work with kids on the spectrum, and I also work with neighborhood children. And I would consider myself a healer because I usually give awesome advice. Everybody comes to me with advice and whatnot. And so I usually heal the people that I hurt. They always ask me. And I would call myself a storyteller because even though you feel like I can't put myself in your shoes of what you're going through, I always got a story to tell. A story that can help you, a story that can motivate you. So that's why I put myself in those roles.
Man, y'all are already just like, look, Felissa said something that I don't even think she knows. She gave a word. She said, that's how we move. She said, that's how we move. And I said, yes. Okay, all right, Jeremy, what you got? What you got?
Hey, y'all, good morning. My name is Jeremy Mercado. I'm with Build Chicago. I'm one of the mentors, and I run the My Brother's Keeper program. That's an apprentice mentorship program at Build, and also lead a civic engagement group, youth council. So I'm always working with high schoolers, middle schoolers, that fun age group of young people, and looking at the ecosystem map and just thinking of myself, I would consider myself a builder, just because I think I'm constantly hanging out with visionaries or people who have the vision. And then I leave my hands open and just pray, they give me a brick and I figure out what to do with it. But yeah, I feel like I like to develop, organize, challenge myself in that way. And I like to stick with those people who can think about the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. Just because I feel like those are the people who can kind of really get me motivated, but I run the groundwork around them. And I can contribute to that collective vision. I also feel like I work as a guide, as someone who can talk you through a lot of things when it's happening. And it can be a hot mess for you, but I feel like I usually for youth in general, with the guys and individuals I work with, it can be a tense moment in their life. And it's just like, all right, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to choose next? But also love them in the process of something that might be extremely sticky for them. So yeah, I feel like depends on the day, just like all of us, we can choose to be different things. But yeah.
And isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
That we can choose, that we have the power to choose to be different things. You know, I love how each of you are finding yourself at the intersection of each of these roles in the ecosystem. And I think I feel right at home with you all, because when I was looking, my mind immediately went to experimenter, because I felt like all of these roles fit in this like experimentation space. We have to continue to experiment in all of these spaces if we're going to make change, if we're going to evolve, if we're going to be the best that we know that we can be. So thinking about some of the things that you all listed, right? Like builders, healers, storytellers, visionaries. How does this role, right? This role contribute to your ideal career path? And I say ideal career path because, right, in society, we use professions. We don't necessarily use like roles. We use industries, sectors, things like that. So I'm curious to know, how does your role, your role, your identifier correlate or relate to your ideal career path? And let's go ahead and start with D for that.
Ooh, okay. So I am in marketing. So when I think of maybe down the line is helping youth, kind of shape them with marketing and advertising. So that's kind of me being a visionary, thinking ahead of time, and maybe even starting my own firm one day. And moving around the world. So I love to travel. So just having houses everywhere. So experimenting, marketing is so huge. It's not just social media. It's website and designing. It's so many different paths you can go down. So I started off with graphic designing. I had a mentor that threw me in the fire. She said, design this business card, design this website. Good luck. Let me know if you need anything. And I was like, okay. So I was in college and I was like, oh, okay. So that's really that experiment that kind of started my motivation to be curious about everything. Because that was one path. And then I seen how she'll do a website in like an hour or like a day. And I was just like, that's so motivating to see. And a caregiver, whenever I see a child or someone that is who wants to go down the marketing rim, just being caring and not being afraid to give my information. I don't want to hold this in. I want to spread it as much as I can. So you can get in different positions. For CMOs, for example, it's only 2% Black women in chief marketing executive officers in the world, in the United States. So that motivates me. We need more representation. So it is I feel like it's my responsibility to give others opportunities and help about the industry I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Don't we just love those mentors that just throw us in the fire? Rashida, don't we love those mentors that are just like, hey, do this. And you're like, okay. But but the reason why I love that, right, is because it makes us not necessarily curious about the thing, but curious about us.
Like, what can I do?
What can I prove? What can I do? Right?
Yeah.
And if they believe that I can do this, and this they whole business, they whole job.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, you have trust in me. Because I was trying to do stuff on Photoshop. I self-taught myself Photoshop. And she was just like, okay, you know Photoshop? Bet. Here you go. Let's retire. I was like, okay.
So Jeremy, I see you down there laughing and smiling. Can you relate to any of these things? Where do you relate, or where do you feel? Either one, you can go either way. Where do you relate? Where do you feel your role fits into your career path?
You know, man, I'm just thinking about this, and I just think about like everyone who's just given me an opportunity, because I feel like throughout I've been working with youth now officially like over a year. But you know, I think about like how I first entered through the doors as a student at Build, and you know, a social work student with an internship, and then given an opportunity just because you know I was working on another team at the time, and I was just like, all right, well, I know I'm a builder. I know that whoever can give me, like, if you give me a chance, I'm just gonna rock it out. And I felt like when they gave me the opportunity and like the actual employment to like, you know, I literally felt like, you know, I was offered the chance to be that builder that I identify with, that person, you know, just when given the chance, I knew that that was going to be my time to be able to connect with my ideal career path, because someone really took a risk on me that I felt like
Right.
at the same time, like, do I think I was the best option? It doesn't matter because I was given the opportunity. And on that day, it felt like, wow, like this is insane. And that changed the role of, you know, what I even thought of myself to be doing, specifically in Austin too. Just because, you know, I would visit the West Side, but not as deep as I would a year ago, before I started. Because, you know, now I live in Humboldt Park, but I was more familiar with the Northwest Side and things that were going on over there. Just being Puerto Rican too, I feel like sometimes you stick to your communities and neighborhoods. But yeah, I definitely feel like the career path and my identity as like a builder has drastically changed as soon as the opportunity came for the ideal career path to be able to navigate in the space differently, and especially when it comes sooner than you think, because you know I was still a student, and given an opportunity that sometimes you think you're too premature for, but it's just handed to you and it's like, all right, I just got to run with it now. And thankfully, I'm still hanging out with those visionaries, those storytellers, even though I feel like we all tell stories in different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, because when we build together, we're also learning something in the process of that and adapting as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like
Yeah.
what was going on in my head when she was talking about that.
Yeah. So Keyshawn, do you have any thoughts on what Jeremy has mentioned here? I see you with the snap.
And he's just been facts after facts after facts after facts. He's not missing. He is not missing. So me growing up in Austin and bumping heads into people like him were like really, 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 really rare. Like I was some people I'd encountered walking down the street, and I see y'all passing out flyers and just trying to get the little homies to come in, and everybody laughing at y'all and walking off. Like, no, we don't do that, shorty. We on the streets with it. So no, I know exactly how people in his situation that was just trying to make a difference in communities, but it wasn't really people there to really sit there and take people like him seriously. And I would always pay attention to people like him, because it was like, what's wrong with actually trying to do good? And I never really found the answer to that. Whenever I talked to these same people that would laugh him off, so I would always I would always be gravitating to whether I knew what it just felt good. Curses within our communities that people don't talk about, what people refuse to talk about. And knowing that there are avenues that I can go down that I didn't know that I had access to until I got older, it made me realize that these should have been more avenues available to me when I was younger, so I can already develop into the man that I wanted to be at an early age. So having people like him that I'm coming across at a young age makes me want to go back to the younger demographics in Chicago to start from there, to start from the root of all the growth. So.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Keyshawn. And it's a really good transition into this next question that I want to dig into. You talked a lot about like access, right? Having access to these things so that I can know what I might want to do, where I might want to go. So I'm really interested in hearing from, just both Felissa and Giovanni. I want to bring you all into the chat here. As you all have, worked with youth as well as, in your own youth, in your own experience, what are some challenges that you have faced in pursuing your ideal career path? Felissa, like, I got a whole bunch of jump in.
So I graduated from high school this year. I'm a new freshman at USC. So the whole transitioning into like college was like hectic because the pandemic, it boomed, it hit everything. And so it was so hard to get to the place that I'm at right now because like all like the resources I had was closed down because of COVID. Like school was one of my biggest like help with my college decision. And like, I ain't have that no more. Like they was emailing, but I'm the type of person that needs to be physically with somebody to help me. And so I would like to say like my community really helped me with that, specifically like a person in my life or not. So I would say like these challenges always set you back at the same time, but they build you as well. Like, you can't just go through life without having any struggles. You don't have no background. You don't have no, so when something do happen to you, you acting like the whole world was against you. So I just feel like all these challenges that I went through, just made me better. It made me more independent in my work. I had to do it myself. Nobody can help me. So I would like to say like my struggle was a lesson.
Okay, for a blessing in the struggle. I know you talked a little bit. You know what? Let me just clap it. Let's just clap it up for you. One for graduating and getting to UIC and doing all that in the midst of everything that's going on. Shoot, it wasn't really nothing going on when I was going to college and I was struggling. So I can only imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, Giovanni, you all work with youth, right? And I know that you're also really interested in, the role that education and school plays in helping young people grow and aspire to their career. So as you hear Felissa talk about her struggle, what comes to mind for you?
What comes to mind to me is same thing, actually, class of 2020 right here. And I'm planning on going to college very soon. Hopefully, because the situation that was going on with COVID. But back to what I was going to say originally. With education, it's really hard. I want to get this off my chest right now. I'm a proud Latino autistic man. I have autism, and I'm really inspired by the young lady that just spoke ahead of time. She helps out her brother who also has autism, stuff like that. I didn't really have a chance. That's what a lot of people told me. They said, "You're not going to make it. You're not going to be nothing. Give up." 3 things that kept getting shoved in my face. I was like, nope. I don't gotta listen to you. You don't gotta listen to me. We can go our separate ways. That's just how it was. Push and pull, push and pull. And that's why when I hear you guys' stories, I feel so much inspired to keep on going with what I want to do. I want to help other kids with autism. I want to help other kids want to find their voices, make sure that they're allowed to speak, or even teach them that you guys have a voice. You guys can speak. It's not just you in your head and inside your room. No, it's so much more than that. You just got to find it. And that's why I really want to try and empower kids to, figure out what they want to do. I've always been trying to do that for my whole life right now. And when I hear you guys talking about, helping out people, mentoring, showing them their way, their careers. And I feel like I should start doing this too, trying to move forward with my career because, we're all still so young and I'm still trying to make a name for myself too, and in my own community, trying to make sure people know that I'm here. I can help you if you want me to. Just trying to get everything out there, including with other people. That's just how things are.
Yeah, and you know what, Giovanni, let me just say this. You have such a powerful voice right here, right now. You're making a name for yourself right here, right now, today. And you had one before today. And I think what is really important and what is really inspiring me right now is as you all are talking about, just people who are people on the spectrum, people who are different, right? Like who are different and who need different kinds of support, different kind of assistance. All the assistance, the one way of doing it does not work for everyone else. And I think that's why it's so important for each of us, right, to find ourselves at the intersection of these roles, because the reality of it is we need a new way and we're going to create it. I already know it. So look, y'all, I actually got my start in this work at an organization called Leaders Up. When I graduated from college, I helped 18 to 24-year-olds in Oakland, LA, and Chicago gain access to careers. And one day I was at a conference and I heard this researcher at the conference say, young adults of color have the least amount of access to the most valuable advice. Young adults of color have the least amount of access to the most valuable advice. Before we even jump into the question, I want to know, Jeremy, what comes up for you when you hear that?
Wow. Man, it's kind of just thinking about it. I never thought much of like what advice would I need when I was younger. Even because I'm 26 now, and still we're growing as 22, 23-year-olds and whatnot. And I was never looking for the advice. I just needed the but I'm thankful I had the sustainability and consistency of even though my family, we were all trying to figure out degrees or trying to pursue education. Not just my brothers and sisters, but my cousins too, because I feel like families culturally are very, very tight and close. But I think, yeah, just having the consistency and having like that for me, that was the support I knew I needed to be brave enough to kind of like continue my education, continue pursuing a career, and knowing that I had to make a choice not just for myself, but just so your parents could be proud, or you can feel like you're making those right decisions. But yeah, that's such I'm still thinking about that question.
Yeah.
And I think, I think like it's for me, it was day by day. It wasn't that I needed the perfect advice right at that moment. I'm just thankful that I had the support. I had my pops, had my sister, my brother, and people who allowed me to take it day by day and not have the answer tomorrow. Which is like, they showed me that in their actions, and they didn't even have to say it,
Yeah, that compassion. I think that's very compassion, and that consistency and showing. I think that's really important. And I think for me, you all, when that question, when he said that, I was like, well, what makes advice valuable, right? And from their lens, they were talking about like, a lot of young people of color, they're working with the counselor, right? They're working with mom or dad, but they don't necessarily have access to that person who is the head of marketing at this place, right? So, I wanna go to D as we talking about this, because you kind of are thinking about a clear-cut path into career. What do you think when that comes up for you? And then talk a little bit about what is the most valuable advice you feel like you've gotten thus far.
Advice.
And this is career related. Career related advice. Yep.
So career related advice. I say that it doesn't have to be this way. Like, the way things are structured right now doesn't mean you can't reconstruct it. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing. And it's not more about dialogue, what people said, is more about their actions, the actions I'm seeing around me. Like my mentor, like I stated, she's the only really Black marketing person that I know close to me, really. I know like maybe one more, but so just seeing how she moved and how she's taking different spots that I never seen before. And like saying support as well, having support, because I went to school in Humboldt Park and I went to high school in Oak Park. Suburb, city to suburb, completely different. And then when I went to college, I went to DeKalb. And I was behind when in high school. I didn't have an education like those other students. So I had to go a different route to college. I had to go in a special program because my education wasn't up there. And my cousin helped me, guide me through these applications, these essays. So having that kind of support, like Jeremy stated, is what really keep you going, because this young person out of high school, you don't know what to do. So him, researching, helping me with these applications and everything really helped me, because I did feel like a failure. Like, dang, I have to go a different way. Like, I can't just do an application and get into college. Like, it was completely different for me. But that really just kind of put a fire in me. Like, okay, yeah, you needed a little bit more help, but that doesn't mean like you can't have a seat at the table. You still,
Period.
work. So it might just be a little different than other people, but that don't mean like you don't deserve it. So I think that that's important.
Did you go to NIU?
I did go to NIU.
Okay, I went to NIU. And Rashida went to NIU.
Really? Oh,
Yes, we gonna have to connect. But I think like you touch on something that is really interesting, and just a quick plug for all the young people that's out there watching. Like, I think that people don't realize when you go through these special programs, it's one, you still got to pay for this stuff. You go through these special programs through college. Sometimes they not giving you college credit. They just like, you have to take this class. And it just makes me feel like how, like you're saying, what more can we be doing? What more can we be doing? What can we, and not even more, what can we be doing differently? So I know Keyshawn was like, yes, restorative justice. Jump in, Keyshawn, and talk a little bit more about what you mean by that and why you think that is essential to this conversation we're having right now.
Okay, I just wanted to start by saying that the reason why Chicago has the culture that it's known for is simply because we have no access to resources. That's why everybody brags about the finessing culture and all the bad stuff we have, because we simply don't have it. That's why when people quote unquote get good, that's something that people look up upon, because we don't have anything, which is why it all ties back into restorative justice, because we see that different neighborhoods that don't need it get more than other neighborhoods who truly do need it. And I feel like that also ties back into equity, something that needs to be really paid attention to rather than equality, because everybody can get equal things, but if somebody already was well off without it, they're just getting more. So if all that stuff is evenly distributed amongst the people who really do need it, they can actually do wonderful and amazing things. Then we won't have to talk about why this specific demographic is failing or why this specific demographic is doing this, that, and the third. It's simply because your demographic, whether it be white in this area or black in this area or Latino or whatever, if this specific area is getting more resources, it doesn't need it. There's other people out there who are living the same life and the same struggles who need that more than you. And I think that, again, restorative justice is really, really important, because we're just focused on going back to making things the way that it was, and the way that it wasn't what it needed to be for everybody, because it wasn't equal. It never was equal. That's why restorative justice is taking that energy from a place that it already came from and rebuilding up for something that's better and more beneficial for everybody around us. Not many people really want it, because people are so busy living in the scarcity mindset rather than the abundance mindset, not knowing that there's enough for everyone. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. As I'm listening to you all talk, I want to share something a friend said to me. So I have a friend, he works for After School Matters, and we talk a lot just about Chicago, the West Side in particular. And last week he said, Chicago is like New York without the light. He was like, Chicago is like New York without the lights. And he was like, people here in Chicago, we get it by any means necessary. And I think, I disagree, right, Keyshawn, that we don't have anything. I think we have an abundance of talented people. We have some of the most amazing, the most talented, the most culture setting people I have ever met. And I think a lot of that comes from the programs that we have grounded and rooted here into our neighborhoods. So I want to take the conversation in a different direction here. Right, what we're finding in neighborhoods like Austin and other neighborhoods on the west side of Chicago is that a lot of young adults don't know about the programming, the positive programming. They're unaware that the programming is going on. I want you all to kind of reflect on, what do you think is at the root of this issue? What do you think is at the root of this issue? And then what do you think we need to do to address it? And I'm going to go with Felissa. She looked like she got something to say.
So I was thinking about this question really long and hard. And then I thought back to, how did I get wrapped around in my community? Who helped me? And so that brought me back to thinking networking. The only reason why I'm here today is from my neighbor, which helped me open up my horizon and see everything and actually get all these opportunities. And so I would like to say the problem would be like people don't know, like a lot of people don't be knowing, or just like people don't network well. That's what I'm saying. Like people usually don't try to even talk about like community stuff or like career stuff. Like the conversation never steers in that direction really until like you like meet somebody. Like you would never know. So what I think we should do is like, I don't know, have like certain like, I don't know what to call it, like community like organization, like having like, you know how other communities, they will have like a whole bunch of opportunities listed and a whole bunch of like flyers and a whole bunch of people talking about stuff. In Austin, I don't really see that. I don't really see a lot of people, you know, trying to help somebody else. It's always like, it's mine, I'm keep it to myself. I'm not going to help nobody else. When it shouldn't be like that. We all should help each other. We all should spread awareness, and we just don't do that.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting that you say that, right? And let me say this. As much as I like appreciate networking, I think we might need to throw that like word out of the window, because I feel like it has become a buzzword, and it has become like literally talk to your neighbor, right? Like that's what that is. Talk to your neighbor. You know, my boyfriend and I, we live in the Chatham area, and we take walks, right, y'all? And the other day, yesterday, literally, y'all, we were walking around the corner, and I'm the type of person, I speak to people. I'm like, hello, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? And I noticed that like sometimes people don't speak back. And I started to think like, what if people in the community are like, what if we have been conditioned to be afraid of each other, so that we do not talk?
That's what it is. We don't.
So that we do. No, we don't. And I think it's because like the media tells us that Austin is bad, you know, Chatham is bad. So when somebody like me, right, like this regular person, I'm getting passionate. This regular person comes to Chatham, I'm thinking like everybody here is out to get me. Yeah. So yeah. Anybody have thoughts on that? Giovanni is like yes. You got some thoughts, Giovanni?
Yeah, that's definitely, I've definitely experienced that a lot in my life. Not to mention like when I want to like try to talk to a kid, you know, because I see a kid who's trying to do something with their life, you know, he, her, they, you know, whoever they are. You know, like they want to do something, but when I go up to talk to them, they're like, "Who are you?" And they just walk away, like they don't care. Like, you know, I'm going to do something to them. I was like, no, okay, we're in school. I'm here to help you. You know, we're trying to do something. Yet, you know, everybody seems like they're afraid of me. Like when I come to talk to them about something new, and I feel like it goes a little bit back to change. You know, they're just stuck in their own mindset. You know, they don't want nothing to change, or they feel like nothing can change because they don't believe in themselves. At least that's the way I see it.
You know, I feel like, I know when we were talking before, we were talking about like doing, it's in the action. And as I'm just thinking about like, what are some ways we can break down this culture of fear, you know, for one another. Like, for example, you all, my sister, she lives in Hillside in the west suburb. And my nephew, he plays like, you know, football, all the sports. And when we go out, like these people in these neighborhoods are like kicking it. You know, they kicking it. They talking to each other. They are, you know, building community. And I'm wondering, like, just off that, can you all think of like any ways that we can kind of break down this barrier?
I think that there should be more risk takers out there who's willing to take projection when there's people that don't want to respond or just simply don't want to interact. I feel like there's people out there that just needs to be designed to have hard shells. They're just really, really, really ready to be beaten and battered by the social norms that we have to be confined by, thanks to the media and all the people that we have been forced to look up to due to their classes and their wealth. I think there just literally needs to be somebody out there like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Right.
ZR, did you want to jump in? Did you have anything?
I think it starts with being open and not being afraid to love. Being vulnerable is not bad. And I think we were conditioned that it is. We got to be tough all the time. We don't have to. It's okay to feel like I need help. I don't know which way to go. But people say, no, I got this. Like, it's just I got this. Don't worry about it. So just trying to change that mindset would definitely be a big thing to do. I mean, growing up in Austin, all my resources was out of Austin. Then do access from education, like nothing. I got in the car and left. Why is it like that? No, I should be able to stay in my hood and get the school that I deserve, the food that I deserve, and call it a day. And like I don't know who just said this, but action, not being afraid to talk to others. You got to have somebody that's out there talking, hey, how are you? How are you doing? And sometimes it might be a little tough, whatever, but maybe that might make their day. Just saying that, hey, how are you? Sometimes you don't even hear that, especially now, so just having that dialogue is super important.
Yeah. Felicia, do you have something you want to share?
Yes, I wanted to say that I feel like we just need to have a balance of the two. Like, it's okay to be independent. It's okay to go get it on your own, but it's also okay to have unity. Like, unity is power. Like, if we come together, it's power in the masses. And so if you're doing well, why wouldn't you want to help your community and, get more resources and more organization, more help, So I just feel like you have to have perfect balance with it.
I got one thing that I'm gonna switch the conversation a little bit. And I'm gonna say this. It may sound like an old school thing, y'all, but I honestly almost really feel that if we dug deep into this, it could make some change. The block club, because my on the block we live on, they just started a block club, and when me and my boyfriend were taking a walk the other day, I just took his picture in front of the sign because they have a new sign, and we're young, right? But my boyfriend is a landlord. He owns this building. And I just sent it to the president and was like, hey, my name is Nick. I work for this place. I like cooking, things like that. And thought about maybe we could start a campaign like that or something, to really try to get people to know one another. Because I'm telling you, I don't know how they get the money for the block club, but if the city is giving us money to run the block club, we need to be taking advantage of this. So we got 5 more minutes, y'all. And I know that we really want to Keyshawn, bring back dancing and bring back footworking at the block club. But okay, we got 5 more minutes, and I want to round this thing out here. So there are a lot of organizations watching today. A lot of people are going to see this, and I really want each of us as young people, if there was one thing you can pick, something that you need help with, right? Something that you need help with, a resource that you need access to, a resource that you see other people really needing access to, or you can say one thing that you would like to see from more seasoned, more mature adults, and what we need from them in the way forward. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with Felissa, because every time she be like this, I know she got something to say. Every time she be like, yes, I be like, start with her.
So I really wanted to see in the community of Austin therapy. A lot of people are scared of therapy. Therapy is a big, big thing people need to have, because it's a lot of mental, I wouldn't even say mental illness, I would say mental diversity that people have, and a lot of people don't even understand, are not open-minded enough to understand they are different people. They are neurodiversity, and it's a lot of people that just need to talk about their problems or actually get to their unconsciousness and try to figure out what's wrong with them. So I feel like we should have some nice mental health facilities in Austin.
Thank you. I am here for that. Okay, we're gonna go Jeremy, Giovanni, Keyshawn, and Dee.
Yeah, just thinking about that question, I think the most impactful thing that not just anyone who's a seasoned adult or elders who've been doing the work for years, organizing. I think one of the most powerful things that we can offer individuals is our presence and just being able to stand and share in space. And I know that looks different, specifically in this time period that we live in. But I think, it's just we need to give ourselves more opportunity to see each other and be with each other, whether that's like sharing a meal or, because even when I was Build last summer, we were having barbecues at, I believe, Moore Park, and and just being together. There's something unifying about that. I mean, you can see your neighbor, and you can, and just having that opportunity to show love, share a meal, or just be in a park and stand on the same grass. And I think we can complicate the process, even though everything is like super necessary. But I think the starting point is just being able to stand with someone that you may not have stood with if it wasn't for food, or if it wasn't for just like trying to have a good time. So I think those are the things we have to continue to call as like just super valuable. Just being able to share space, because that's the beginning and like the introduction to like what's to come.
Okay, we're gonna run through it real quick. One word, Giovanni. What do we need? What are we calling for?
I would say power.
Power.
We need the power.
Power.
Yeah, we need the power to, like I would say, give me the power so I can give other people a chance.
Yes.
To be who they are.
Keyshawn, one word. What we need?
2 words, a history lesson.
History lesson. Love it. Love it. Diara, what we need?
We need more openness, love, a spirit love, and giving youth more opportunities in Austin.
Hey man, I'm gonna say we need more of all of you. We need more young people. We need more fellowship. We need more opportunities like these to connect. I love you all. I want to thank you all for having this conversation with us today. It has been great. And I think I am going to pass it back on over to you, Miss Rashida Graham-Washington.
Thank you so much, Miss Mickey Grace. You were fabulous as always. Always enjoy listening to Keyshawn, listening to you guide and facilitate and moderate. Y'all make me feel so safe and so thankful for a future we can trust. So thank you so much for your work.